Okay, good morning and welcome to Daf Yomi, Rosh Hashana, Daf Chavtet, number 29. We were just talking, me and my father, about the difference in plumbing between Israel and America. Since I've been here, the toilet has been stuffed. How many times?
Only one that I know.
2 or 3. No, at
least
one of the
times.
At least 2 times been stuffed. Apparently you can't even throw Kleenex down the toilet. Everyone who from America is familiar with the swirl, that the water swirls when it cleans itself. And in Israel, you just flush it down. It's like a strong gush of water that goes down. So we'll have to chalk it up to another advantage of living in Israel over America. Now we're getting even. We have America, has the good Gashmias. Israel has the good weather. And now we have another one in favor of Israel. The toilet system is better in Israel than America. I don't know what it's like in Europe or China or Australia. I have no idea. Or South Africa. Probably not as good. I don't know. Probably not as good as Israel. Also, Israel has a good vaccine rate. The first country to vaccinate. My father was considering flying to Israel incognito, dressing up as a Mossad agent to get the vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine right there. He wanted to get the Pfizer vaccine very badly, my father.
Which dad was that?
That's you. He considered dressing up as Yossi Cohen, the head of the Mossad, or was the head of the Mossad. But ultimately, they caught him at the airport. They discovered his real identity, so he wasn't able to get the Pfizer. He had to wait a couple of months before he got the Pfizer vaccine. So it was a tough wait, Dad, right?
I guess.
What exactly happened in the airport when you dressed up as Yossi Cohen? How did they figure out it was you? What gave it away?
I have no idea. I didn't go.
Dad, you gotta play along. This is part of the fun. You play along like you want to Yossi Cohen. You say something like, it was Arabic. You're speaking Arabic, and they picked up the Arabic was a little off. Right. Even though you speak a fluent Arabic, but it just was a little off the intonation.
Could be.
The accent.
It's probably a good idea not to make fun of the Mossad. They probably are listening to this YouTube.
I'm not making fun of Mossad. They're not listening to you. How have I the Mossad to listen to my YouTube, and learn Daf Yomi. That'd be great. Be friends with the Mossad. They write me comments. Okay, we're going to start here on the bottom of Chav Cherem Beis. The Gemara says, the last 4 words of Chav Cherem Beis. Amalei Rabbi Zera l'Sham. Rabbi Zera said to his servant, someone who is Shamish, Echavin v'takali. He was on Rosh Hashana. He said, have kavana and blow for me a tkiya of Rosh Hashana. Shofar Amal Kasavar Mashmiya Boi Kavana. So you see that Reb Zera held that the Mashmiya, the person who blows the shofar, needs Kavana. He has to have Kavana. Now it's Machlokes what it means over here. We'll take the explanation. It means he just has to have Kavana that he knows who he's blowing for. Not that he has to be Mechavin to be Motzi him in the mitzvah. Just has to have Kavana that he knows who he's blowing for. Mesive, it's really true. Is Rabbi Zera really right about this? Over Achari Beis HaKnesses. The Mishnah says he was passing by the back of a shul. Shahaya Beiso Samach Beis HaKnesses. His house was near a shul. Shama called shofar, called Megillah. He didn't want to leave his house in the morning, so he listened from his window for the shofar and the Megillah on Purim. If he had kavana, he was yotze. If not, not. If he kiven libo, my hobby. What does it help that he had in mind to pay attention to the shofar? The person blowing the shofar didn't know about this guy in the window who's listening, so he didn't have kavanah for him. So the answer is the case that we're talking about when he hears from his window is talking about the shliach sibur, the one who's being mostly everybody. The daite akuli alma, his das is on everybody, including people who listen from the window. Tashman is kavan shomei and it's kavan mashmiya. We learned in a brisa yesterday that if the Shomeya has Kavana and the Mashmiya doesn't have Kavana, or Niskav Mashmiya and Niskav Shomeya, the person blowing the shofar had Kavana, the person hearing didn't have Kavana. Lo Yatza, you're not Yotze, Ashi is Kavan Shomeya Mashmiya. Both of them have the Kavana, either Kavana to be Yotze the mitzvah or Kavana to blow a shofar. Kasani Mashmiya, Dumia the Shomeya. So Mashmiya the same rules that apply to Mashmiya seem to apply to Shomea. Mashomea Shomea la'atzmo. Just like a person who hears, who's he hearing for? He's only hearing for himself. Af Mashmiya la'atzmo. So the Mashmiya in the Brisa is talking about somebody who is blowing for himself, just for himself not to hear, not for intending to other people to hear. And it says you're not Yotze if you don't have kavanah for both. But if you had kavanah for both, the Mashmiya and the Shomea have kavanah, you would be Yotze, even though he's only blowing for himself. So that would be a question of Reb Zera. The one says tonight it's really Mahoz Tanoim. What Reb Zera is talking about. The Sanya Shomea La'as, Mashmiya Alfi Darko, like exactly a person who hears, he hears for himself. And Mashmiya, he blows for him, Alfi Darko, for everybody. And even though he doesn't have intent for other people, like Reb Zera said. I'm sorry, not like Reb Zera. The Tanakh was not like Reb Zera. Mashmiya Levi Darko, even though Mashmiya, even though he doesn't have kavanah, he could be motzi other people, even though he's really only intending to do it for himself. I'm Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi holds like Reb Zera. It says Medvar Amur. This only applies to Shtei Tzibur, where his mind is to be motzi everybody. Be Yachid, L'Yatza, actually is Kamin Shomei Mashmiya. You have to have kavanah. Like Reb Zera says, according to Rabbi Yossi, that the person blowing the shofar has to know that he's blowing for somebody else. He has to know exactly what he's blowing for. Mishnah says, Vayak Asher Yarim Moshe Yado v'Gavar Yisrael. Pasuk says in Shmos, when they were fighting Amalek, when Moshe raised his hands up to Hashem, then Yisrael would win. What, the fact that he's davening to Hashem that does milchama, or shovros milchama, alom alach kozman shu Yisrael mistachon kabim mala. It was a simon for Klal Yisrael when he picked up his hands in davening to Hashem. So Klal Yisrael would look up to Hashem and they would find their support and their strength in Hashem. Hayim is Gabram. Then they believed they had to be tough on Hashem. Then they would be successful. When they didn't have this kavanah, when they didn't have this intent, they would succumb to the enemy. Similarly, this is talking about one of my gefas. So he said Moshe said to make a copper snake. And look at it. The fact you're looking at a copper snake, that's what brings life to a person or kills a person. It was just similar to them. They should look towards Hashem. We should trust in Hashem. And then they would get a refuah. And if not, they would slowly fade away. Someone who's deaf or a shota, he's not cognizant, doesn't know his whereabouts. A minor ain't motzi as Rabbi Dechavasan can't be motzi other people because they're not chayiv. Cher and shota are not chayiv at all. And Katan's only chayiv derbanan. Zaklal onto Zigil Achin. Zaklal kol she'eno mechuyev with davar. Eno motzi as Rabbi Dechavasan. If he's not mechuyev, he can't be motzi other people. Tanarban akol chayiv with gil shofar. The Bible says everyone's chayiv with gil shofar. Kanan levi Yisraelim. Whether you're a Kohen Levi Yisrael, Geirim V'Avadim, if you're a convert or an Eved, Meshuchrar, you were set free. But Tumtum androgynous, Tumtum has no male organ and no female organ. Androgynous has both. Mishachetzio Eved, Chetzio Ben Chor. Someone who's half slave and half free man, meaning he's owned by two people. One person set him free, and one person still holds him as an Eved. Tumtum, Eino Motzi Lo Asamino V'Lo Shamino. A person who has no genitals, either male or female. It's covered up, so he can't be motzi, not a person like him, not a person not like him. Androgynous motzi, that's mean androgynous who has both genitals, he could be motzi another androgynous, but not someone who's not like him, meaning a regular person. Again, someone who's half owned by another person. He's a slave to one person, but the partner set him free. He can't be motzi another chatzi eved chatzi ben chorin, and he can't be motzi a regular person. Amar mar akol chayav t'kel shofar. The Brisa says everyone's chayav t'kel shofar. Kalam l'vim Yisraelim pshita, obviously. Hani lo mechayvi man mechayvi. These are make up all Klal Yisrael. Kalam l'vim Yisrael are not chayav, who are chayav in the midst of t'kel shofar. Kohanim mitzrichole. Kohanim is the chiddush. Sak de dechamina hol v'ksiv. Yom Trua Yalachem. It says day of Trua should be for you. Man de leise elabet kia dechad yomo. Who de mechayev. The hani kanim hol ve'isnem bet kios tichol shan dechsev the kadim chasos shal sechem. It's only talking about Yom Trua. Yom is a singular day, only when it's referring to the shofar Rosh Hashana. Kohanim hear blasts and blow blasts not from a shofar, but chatzos from a trumpet, whenever korbanos are brought, and that they're brought every day. So the fact that they do that every day, so they shouldn't, just like they're not included in Yom Trua, because Yom Trua only applies to people. That's the only day of the year where they do a Trua. So you might think Chayav are not chayav in the midst of shofar and Rosh Hashana. Aim a little chayav, but Kamashman still they're chayav. Midami, where it says is it comparable? Hasam chatzos hacha shofar. There, when they're blowing from the korbanos, they're using trumpets. They're not using a shofar, right? You know, a trumpet is a brass instrument, there, right?
Okay.
As opposed to a woodwind instrument.
Well, a shofar is not a woodwind. Isn't a shofar is made out of horn? Isn't a woodwind mean that it's wood?
Yes. Shofar is not a brass instrument. It's not a woodwind instrument. It's really not an instrument. Shofar. Shofar is a shofar.
I guess it still makes a sound.
It's interesting. What would you classify a shofar as? Would you classify there's lots of different types of instruments. I think there's 5 types of instruments. There's string instruments, e.g. guitar, woodwind instruments like flute or a clarinet, oboe, also a saxophone, which basically you blow wind and it hits a piece of wood and that causes the sound. Brass instruments is made out of brass, like a trumpet. What is a shofar? I don't know. I have to look this up on Google. We're gonna have to do our homework for tomorrow. Anyway, chatzotros is not similar to shofar. Chatzotros is a brass instrument. Shofar is probably not a brass instrument. Shofar is not made out of brass. So hacha shofar el itzrich. So what's the chiddush? Sakdech min ahovot nan shava yovel Rosh Hashanah l'tkiyah brachos. Yovel is similar to Rosh Hashanah, both for Tekiah and Brachos. Yovel, meaning the Yom Kippur on Yovel, is similar. They blow the same Tekiyos on Yovel, Yom Kippur of Yovel, and they have the same Shemona Esrei, Musei Musaf. Man, the Isei Mitzvahs of Yovel, Isei Mitzvahs of Rosh Hashanah. Anyone's included in the Mitzvahs of Yovel, he's included in the Mitzvah of Rosh Hashanah. The Hani Kohanim, however, Leistu Mitzvahs of Yovel. They're not included fully in Yovel. The Stan Kohanim Leviyim Mochrim La'olam. They can sell their properties forever, which anyone can do, really. The Chiddush is a goal in La'olam. Normally, Yisrael who sells land, it goes back to original owners on Yovel. And Yovel, even though you sold the land to somebody else, it goes back to the ancestral owners on Yovel. Kohanim and Leviyim, they could be goal la'olam. I mean, they can redeem any time. So the Gemara says, "Ema." So they're not like everybody else, like Yisrael. So you might think they're not, just like Yovel doesn't apply to them. So Rosh Hashanah doesn't apply to them. Mitzvah Rosh Hashanah lo l'chayv. You might think they're not chayav mitzvah shofar. Rosh Hashanah kamash malan. They are chayav. Mishachetzia eved chetzia ben chorin ena motzi lo es mino below es she'eno mino. If he's chetzia eved chetzia ben chorin, he can't be motzi his type and not someone who's not a regular person. Amar Rav Huna, will ask about motzi. Is it possible that chetzia eved chetzia ben chorin can even be motzi himself? Amar Rav Nachman Rav Huna, ma'ishna lacherim delo. Delasi said abdos umapik. I'm sorry. Rav Huna said la'atzma motzi. He could be motzi himself. So Amar Rav Nachman Rav Huna, ma'ishna lacherim delo. He can't be motzi other people. Delasi said abdos umapik said cheros. An eved is not chayiv mitzvah Rosh Hashanah because an eved kaini who's still owned by someone else. So he's an eved kaini. He's compared to a woman, and a woman is pater mitzvah zman grama. Just like women are pater and shofar mitzvah zman grama. So avadim knainim are pater mitzvah zman grama. So his sad abdus can't be motzi sad cheros. The atzma nami lo asi sad abdus. They mapi sad cheros. They can't even blow for himself because half of him is an eved. So when you blow a shofar, you're blowing the whole of you, the whole mouth, and your mouth is jointly owned, partly eved. That part of your mouth can't be motzi the sad cheros. Ela Amar Rav Nachman after atzmo in a motzi. Rav Nachman corrects himself. The atzmo actually corrects Rav Huna. He says the atzmo in a motzi. Tani nami hachi mishchatze evchatze ben chorin. After atzmo in a motzi, he can't be motzi himself. Tani Av Reid Reb Zera call brachos kulan alpish yatsa motzi. A new halacha. All the brachos, usually like berachos hamitzvah, let's say, even though you were yotzi the mitzvah, you could be motzi somebody else. You can be motzi somebody else. Normally we say you have to be chayiv in a mitzvah to motzi somebody else. But there's a concept of arvus. Arvus means that we're all connected. All Jews are connected. We're all guarantors of our friends. We're all responsible for each other. So because I'm responsible to make sure he does the mitzvahs, even though I did the mitzvah already, I can still do the mitzvah for him. The only exceptions to this is these are examples of Birchas HaNenin, making hamotzi or making bari priagafen. So those are cases where it's not obligatory for me to drink, right? If I want to drink, I could drink. If I want to eat bread, I could eat bread. Since it's not obligatory for me to drink, so therefore it's not something that there's no arvis over there. Arvis is only I have to make sure this person does a mitzvah. I have no obligation to make sure a person eats bread. So therefore you can't be motzi someone unless you're actually eating bread right now or you're drinking wine right now. She'im lo yotza motzi, if you weren't yotza, you can be motzi. If you already made the bracha on bread, in a motzi, you can't make another bracha for somebody else just to be motzi him because that's bracha vatala. Boy rava. Birchas halechem shal matzah, birchas hayayin shal kiddush hayom mao. Now this is a lamdish shaila. You're gonna like this, Dad. Matzah, you make two brachas, right? There's a bracha al chilas matzah. That's a bracha on the mitzvah. That for sure there's arvus because you're responsible to make sure he does the mitzvah of matzah. But you also make the bracha on motzi. And so, do you say that the bracha on motzi is connected to the mitzvah, since he has to make a bracha on the matzah to eat it, right? He has to eat it, but at the same time it's a Birchas HaNenin because it's really a bracha on the bread. And the same thing with the wine of Kiddush, right? On Friday night, you make a bracha on Kiddush. There's a bracha on the mitzvah. There's two brachas. Bracha on the mitzvah, and there's a bracha on the yayin, Birchas HaNenin. So for the Birchas HaNenin part, okay, when the chovahu ma'apik, since you're chayiv to do it, and therefore you're chayiv to make a Birchas HaLechem and Birchas HaYayin, so you can be motzi, even though you're already yotzei. El dilma, bracha lav chova here. Or maybe you'll say that this bracha by itself, if we extrapolate it from the Birchas HaMitzvah, it's really simply a Birchas HaNenin. So there's no Yatza Motzi by Birchas HaNenin. So he can't be Motzi him. Tashma, what's the proof? This when we were in Rav Papi's house, have him a Kaddish lan. He would make Kiddush for us. When his sharecroppers were coming down from the field, have him a Kaddish lan. Even though he was Motzi, he was Yotzi his first time when he made Kiddush for us, he would again make Kiddush again for his sharecroppers, showing you that Yatza Motzi. Now, it's interesting, his sharecroppers. Now, what are we talking about over here? Sharecroppers? It's Shabbos, right? Kiddush is on Shabbos. You don't do Kiddush during the week. His sharecroppers are people that work in the field that are working for him. What is he talking about there?
I don't know.
You can't have other people work for you on Shabbos. Probably he's talking about they came in from the field late because they were doing work close up to Shabbos, and they came. By the time they came in, he already made Kiddush. I would say that's what we're talking about. Person can't regularly just make bread for guests unless he's actually eating with them, because again, motzi is Birchas HaNenin. But even if you don't intend to eat, you can make a bracha for your children in order they should know the brachos, right? Even though bracha v'tal doesn't apply when you're teaching someone brachos. Therefore, when you teach your kids, Dad, when you teach your grandkids, when you teach my kids how to make a bracha, right? You can actually say Hashem's name, Dad. You know that? You can teach my bracha. Yeah, when they're eating their fruity pebbles, right? You tell them what bracha to say.
Yeah, but they really know it, so you kind of just lead them on.
Yeah, but you could say it. You should know there's a heter in this Gemara, on Furush Gemara. You can say Baruch Atah.
Right, but you have to say it initially because they never learn it otherwise. Right. But once they learn it already, you could kind of guide them.
Yeah. You don't have, Dad, you got a heter over here, a blanket heter. You could say God's name in vain, Dad.
Well, it's not in vain. That's the whole point.
But imagine saying God's name in vain.
You
know, people pay money for this, Dad. It's worth a lot of money, you know. People who don't have kids, they adopt kids just so that they can say God's name in vain. I teach them to make brachas.
But I think the message here, in terms of saying a kiddush, right? Because this happens many times. You know, you go to shul, you go with your friend and your chaver, you have a kiddush afterwards. Right. You make kiddush, right? You have your herring, you have your wine,
schnapps.
You have your schnapps. Okay, very nice. Then you get invited to another kiddush. You go, you say another kiddush, you do the same thing. Then you come home and your wife hasn't heard kiddush yet.
Right.
Okay, so now you got to make Kiddush for her.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what you're saying is, even if you want to be Yotze her, right, you have to eat something. You have to have a piece of cake. You have to have some mazonos. You have to have something. You can't just make Kiddush to be Yotze somebody. And do you see that happen sometimes?
Well,
right?
I have a question for you, Dad. Listen to this question. Now, the Gemara said, the Gemara had a Shiloh when it was talking about Kiddush on Friday night, because there's two brachas. There's a brachas on mitzvah, there's brachas on end. Kiddush during the day, how many brachas are there?
You tell me.
There's only one bracha, there's no brachas on mitzvah during the day. So, even though you're mechuyev to be the Rabban to make Kiddush during Shabbos day, what do we say, since it's only a brachas on end? Because before we're talking about where there's a brachas on mitzvah, which causes the arvus, right? So intertwined with the arvus is a brachas on mitzvah, because I have to be Yosef in mitzvah and I have to drink wine. But what about Shabbos day? I just have the wine.
Okay.
And I'm just Bari Priya Gafen.
Right.
Would you say arvus over there also? I don't know. I'm sure this is talked about. Let's see what the note says. Yeah, is there anything interesting?
I'm saying every time a person is being Yotze somebody else, he has to eat something. If he doesn't, he's not on the same level. Is that what we're saying? If he doesn't have
if it's a brachas hanen and you have to eat, you have to be Yotze your bracha. You have to eat something with it, right?
Right.
Right.
And it has to be a kazayas.
No, I don't think so. It doesn't say that.
It doesn't?
Why is it a kazayas? Where does it say that? As long as I eat it, in order for me to be obligated, say hi to my sister, Edie. Say hi to the camera, Edie. She flew in all the way from Chicago. My daughter, Sivia.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize we were streaming live.
Not streaming live. It's going to be uploaded. Say hi, Edie. Straight from Chicago. She flew up. She woke up at 3:45 this morning. Took a plane at 6 o'clock. Arrived here at 9 o'clock just to see me and my family, because we're here for 2 weeks from Chicago. The Windy City. The place where it snows year-round.
Nah, it's 60s and sunny today.
60s and sunny. All right. Good to see you, Edie.
Good to see you.
Wish my listeners good luck from Chicago.
I will. I'm going to post this so people can see it on
Yeah,
Chicago.
post it up. Yeah.
Very good.
Make it go viral.
Viral?
Viral, yeah. All right.
So you don't know if you have to have a kazayas.
I doubt you have the kazayas. It's just to be able to the brachas.
Then you can't even say alam.
Kazayas is only for a bracha achrona. It's not for a bracha
right.
rishona.
I'm saying that you can't say alam.
Yeah, you don't have to.
But Shabbos we need to say extra brachas. We need 100 brachas. Come on, eat that kazayas.
You're right. We do have 100 brachas. I forget about Allah a lot of times.
You know, we come to Rosh Hashana, Yom Kippur. You got to count on mitzvahs. You know. So if we miss out on those 100 brachas, you know, we might need it. That might tip the balance. We talked about the Benoni. Remember the Benoni?
You want to be exactly even. You don't want to tip the scale. Don't tip the scale.
But you might be one below.
You ever see like the picture of those scales? That's why exactly even. That's where you're supposed to be. That's the ideal. The deal is not to tip the scale. You got to be even.
Yeah, but you don't know where you are.
Even Steven knows where they are. You don't do anything too drastic either way. All right. Tanaman leifras adam prusel orchen elim ken ochel imanol porutul lebanol mene meso k'dei lechanchan b'mitzvos. Uvahalu megillah afal b'shiyatz that we said by brachas mitzvah say halal is a brachas brought to mitzvah to say halal. Megillah it's a bracha also brachas mitzvah. You could, even though you already were yotze the Megillah, you could be motzi other people and say the brachas mitzvah again for them. Hadran Allah rule based in Dad do your l'chaim for this third paragraph. Do a real l'chaim for the third paragraph.
Only if you join me.
I wouldn't join you.
Ay l'chaim
Tadaf Yomi ani b'tzion likes YouTube. L'chaim tovim u'l'shalom. L'chaim, drink your schnapps, Dad.
L'chaim.
Drink the vodka. Oh, that was a good vodka. All right, Smirnoff. All right, next pair, fourth pair, last pair. Rosh Hashana. Yom Tov Shal Rosh Hashana Shechal Yos B'Shabbos. Yom Tov Rosh Hashana that falls out on Shabbos. Mikdash Hayu Token of Alov Medina. They would blow the shofar in the Mikdash, in the base of Mikdash, but not outside of the base of Mikdash. When Shechar base of Mikdash, when the base of Mikdash was destroyed, his king Rabbi Yochanan and Zakkai Hayu Token B'Chol Makom. Sheish based in any place where there was official court, they would be okay. Outside, they wouldn't. Amar Lezer Lo Yiskin Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai Ela B'Yavim Levani. Only made this takana in the Beis Din of Yavne, which was the first place of exile after the destruction of the Beis Din of Mikdash. Amrulo, the Rabban said back to him, Echad Yavne ve'echad kol makom sheyesh al Beis Din. Again, reiterating what we said before, any place where there's a Beis Din, you could be blowing Rosh Hashanah, blow on the shofar or Rosh Hashanah on Shabbos. But Zos, how you say Yerushalayim Yisrael al Yavne. Another difference between Yerushalayim and Yavne. Shekol Ir shehi roa v'shomas v'krov v'yechol lavo token. By Yerushalayim, when the Beis Din was around, any place that was close enough that they could see Yerushalayim. Article says and. They put and between all these words. I'm going to say or. Either they see it or shomas, or they could hear things emanating from Yerushalayim. The krov, or they were close enough to travel. V'yechol lavo, or they could come, even though it wasn't so close, but there was a train or a bus to get there. Like Telestone, close enough. Token, you could blow the shofar on Shabbos or Hashana. Yavne leave a token on the Beis Din. Once the Beis Din is destroyed, only Yavne, only in that place itself. Gemara says, immediately, how do you know there's differences between Shabbos, you don't blow outside the Beis Din Mikdash, and the week where you do? Amar Levi Bar Chama, Amar Rabbi Chama Bar Chanina, Kosav Echad Omer Shabbos on Zichron Shua. One pasuk says that it's a remembrance of Shua. Sounds like you don't actually blow. Because Kosav Echad Omer Yom Shua, it's the day where you do blow. Yalachem. No kash. Kam Yom Tov Shechal Yos Shabbos. Kam Yom Tov Shechal Yos B'chol. If it falls during the week, you blow the shofar. If it falls on Shabbos, you don't blow the shofar, unless in the Beis Din Mikdash. Amar Rava, even D'Oraisa, if this is really a din D'Oraisa, he Mikdash Heichi Takinan. How could it be that we override Isra D'Oraisa to blow in the Mikdash on Shabbos? The Od Halav Malacha. It's not even a malacha to blow a shofar. Isra Chalamuta. You need a pasuk to tell me that you shouldn't do it. Tanad Beis Shmuel. Kol Malachas Avoda Lo Sasu. Says on Shabbos you shouldn't do Malachas Avoda. Yatzah Tzkiya Shofar Rudias Hapash Yichachma Ve'ena Malacha. To exclude blowing the shofar and taking something out of the oven, taking bread out of the oven, that's not called a malacha. Even though malacha is usually a creative activity, it is a wisdom. It's not a creative activity. You need skill to do it, but it's not a creative activity. In malacha, it's not a malacha. So it's not D'Oraisa anyway. Alam Ravam D'Oraisa Mishra Shari. Really, blowing a shofar on Shabbos, Rosh Hashanah is technically, from the Torah's perspective, okay. Rabbanu the Gazer Bey. The Rabbanan said you shouldn't blow on Shabbos. Kid the Rabbah, like Rabbah's teaching, the Amar Rabbah, Kol Chayav M'Tkiyah Shofar. Everyone is Chayav M'Tkiyah Shofar. Ve'ena Kol B'Kiyim M'Tkiyah Shofar. Not everyone is an expert in blowing the shofar. Exactly like my father's an expert in blowing the shofar. Gzeira Shama Yitleno B'Yado V'Yich Etz Al Baki Lilmod V'Yavireno Dalanam with Sharabim behind the time of Lulu behind the time of the Megillah. We're concerned since he's not a Baki, he's not an expert. He's gonna have to go. So I'm in the middle of getting a shear, okay? All right. Tante is here. You happy? All right. He might go to an expert to learn to the shofar, and I'll bring a carry. They didn't have Eruvim all the time, so they would carry the shofar to the expert, and he'd be over on Shabbos. Therefore, they made a gzera. You shouldn't do that. Same thing. A lulav falls out on Shabbos. Sukkah falls out on Shabbos, and also if Purim falls out on Shabbos, also we don't read the Megillah on Shabbos. We don't shake the lulav on Shabbos. Okay, we're going to stop here. You have the shofar here, Dad?
I don't.
Oh, he doesn't have the shofar.
But I can get it if you want. Maybe tomorrow.
All right, tomorrow he's going to show you.
Start the shear with that.
How to blow the Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, well, we'll start. We should have done every shear in Rosh Hashanah where we blow the shofar at the beginning, right?
Yeah, that's true.
We should do
that.
But
now we're learning about the halachas of blowing the shofar, so...
We learned about an expert. Today, you're an expert. You're one of those experts who know how to blow the shofar.
I don't.
So
I agree with that.
You could blow the shofar on Shabbos because you're the expert.
Do you know that? And we'll discuss this further tomorrow. But do you know that there was a push in the early 1900s?
Yeah.
In Rabbanim in Jerusalem in Yerushalayim to actually blow the shofar on Shabbos, and I heard the shir on this once, and the question was, did it actually happen or did it not? Because there was a big controversy among Rabbanim outside of Israel too. And what I heard was the conclusion was it was blown, but not publicly and privately.
Well, the Mishnah, I don't. We have to go see tomorrow's Gemara, but the Mishnah does say it. A Beis Din, established Beis Din, you could.
They established a Beis Din to blow it. Yeah.
Right, but do we have a Sanhedrin today? We don't really have an official Beis Din.
Okay.
We'll have to discuss this tomorrow. Stay tuned tomorrow. My father blowing the shofar. He has a tkiya that's 12 minutes long. He will blow the tkiya. Won't take one breath for 12 minutes. Do you believe it?
And tomorrow will be a true blast, a Ben Sion blast.
A blast. Yeah. Blast from the past, from my father. All right, see you tomorrow. Bye.